Hello everyone, a very good morning to all of you, and let's start with the today's Hindu newspaper analysis discussion. So guys, in the today's video we are going to discuss the entire analysis of Hindu newspaper. We'll take all the articles from the scratch. We'll see the background of the articles. We'll see that how the articles are relevant in our UPSC examinations, what can be the way forward, and all other related information that is relevant for that article we are going to take up. Now guys, before starting up, I would like to tell you that if you are joining here for the first time, you can download the synoptic notes of this entire session. So in synoptic notes, what we have done, we have given the notes of all articles that had come, and in a very crisp manner, these notes have been presented. These synoptic notes can be downloaded from the Telegram channel, and the link for Telegram channel is given in description box in YouTube. Fine, you can just go there. Now, before starting up, I would like to show you briefly the overview of entire newspaper so that you can understand that which articles are actually important in today's newspaper and what is the placement of these articles. So let's see the overview. So here we have Hindu newspaper, and on first page there is one very important article that has come which talks about remote EVM ready to help migrants vote outside state election commission. Now, this particular article will see with respect to GS paper number 2, electoral reforms issue. Okay, very important article. We'll see this thing. Then after that, moving on, RT-PCR negative report must for travelers. Now, the COVID-19 is again evolving. So guys, everyday articles for COVID-19, etc. You don't need to really see too much. Okay, so no need to go there. Pharma firms faces inquiry over killer cough syrups. So guys, few weeks back, we have seen that in Gambia, there were certain cough syrups that were exported by India. It led to death of many children, and now in Uzbekistan, many of people have died after consuming these cough syrups. So these things create problem because India is being referred to as the pharmacy to entire world, and as we are pharmacy to entire world, and our drugs and such kind of cough syrups if is leading to such problems, it is a bad name that comes to India. Then further moving on, India's CAD widens. Okay, so we'll be seeing briefly this particular article. Haryana government hikes monthly income limit for free treatment. Okay, so guys, regional sections, fine, articles are not that much important here. In city section, just we can see on the headlines that boost for green energy, Delhi government clears draft solar policy. So basically, Delhi government has decided this particular thing that 25% of electricity by 2025 will be availed from solar energy sources. Okay, so this just you can use an example as how the state governments are taking initiatives to implement the renewable energy. It will help India in achieving carbon neutrality goal that India has taken, that we will achieve till 2070. But you are not required to go too much in details. Okay, you are not required to go too much in details. Then moving on, in the regional section, then the advertisements, etc., regional issues have been given. The perfect murder, that wasn't not important article, so directly will reach to editorial section. Okay, directly will reach to editorial sections in this particular direction. Okay, fine. So in editorial, changing features. Okay, one more thing, if you are having some different edition of Hindu newspaper, maybe Chennai edition, Bengaluru edition, so regional section will be a little bit different, but it doesn't make much of a sense because relevant articles editorial onwards are same. So the first article, changing features of Muslim representation in India. So basically guys, the article is having a political undertone. So how BJP dominant system has come, what is BJP's policy on Muslims, what have been policies of Muslims on other parties such as SP, etc. Not important article with respect to exam. Then side article, credit challenges. Now this article is important one. This article talks about the recent Reserve Bank of India's trend and progress report. We'll see that article. Then leveraging voice technology to combat cyber fraud, a good and an innovative solution has been given. We'll see this particular article. Friendly neighbors, we'll see this article also. The article is talking about recent conviction, okay, in Maldives of Abdullah Yamin. We'll see that. Should India review its position on the Taliban? So recently we have seen this particular thing that Taliban has imposed ban on women. Large number of bans have been imposed. So we'll see this particular article also. Then moving on. After that, coming to text and context, Karnataka-Maharashtra border row. We'll see this particular article also with respect to exam. What is the Videocon Chanda Kochar case all about? So basically guys, here we see this particular thing that basically Chanda Kochar, okay, she has been accused of helping he has been accused of lending loans to Videocon where there was a private conflict that was involved. However, you are not required to go too much and trace the nitty-gritties of this particular case, that okay, how many crore rupees were given as loan, okay, on what date it was given. No, you are not required to go in that. Simply, we can see this particular thing as an example of lack of corporate ethics. So in GS paper number 4, there is a corporate ethics that is mentioned. So this can be taken as a reference point, but you are not required to go too much in detail. 2022, a year of trial and error, not important article for examination. Need patriotic citizens in border villages for national security. Okay. Then guys, on this particular page, here there are two articles that we have. The articles, they are talking about Akhilesh seeks assembly session to discuss OBC quota in urban bodies. UP moves the Supreme Court against order to hold urban local polls without OBC reservation. So yesterday also similar article has come, but we'll take it also. Okay. Then moving on in this direction. Modi government didn't kept its promise to double farm income by 2022. So basically guys, originally the idea was given in 2016 that the farm incomes will be doubled by 2022. Later that deadline was extended also to 2024. So the Congress is alleging that nothing has happened in this direction. Then further moving on guys, after that mainly the political articles have been there. Then here we see this article talking about the Satark Sangharsh Satark Nagrik Sangathan report about performance of RTI. So within GS paper number 2, performance of government schemes and initiatives will take this particular article. Then after that guys, moving on, in the international page, Russian missile barrage batters Ukrainian cities. Okay, so articles are not very much important. Lack of information on China's COVID surge. These are evolutionary details. You are not required to go too much in these articles, because for our examination those articles are important which contains either some foreign policy dimension or the articles which actually talks about India's international interest but evolving details in the other countries. Okay, not important here. Current account deficit widens to Q2 to 9-year high. So we'll see that what are the factors which are driving presently the current account deficit. Okay, Indian economy presents a picture of resilience. So because even we see this particular thing that globally the inflation is very much higher, Russia-Ukraine crisis is going on, but Indian economy is stable. Okay, moving on. After that guys, we have the sports page. So this is the overview of this entire newspaper. This is the overview of the entire newspaper, and guys, let's take all these relevant articles one by one in detail. Let's take the relevant articles. Okay, so guys, in every class we start with a GS quotation. Now the GS quotation, actually why it is important? Okay, why GS quotation is important? Because in this GS quotation, these quotations can be used to complement your answers in either of GS 1, 2, 3, 4 paper. So today we'll take quotation from Wes Fessler. Wes Fessler says, good men are bound by conscience and liberated by accountability. Now what do we understand by the word conscience? So conscience means an internal voice which guides you as what is right, what is wrong. So when we are in stage of ethical dilemma, when we are in confusion, we don't know what should be done, what not to be done. So an internal voice that guides you, it's your conscience. So good men are bound by conscience. Whenever they will find this internal voice that okay, you should not do this particular thing, you should do this particular thing, they will hear that conscience and they will be bound by that. Okay, but and at the same time they are liberated by accountability. Now what is accountability? Accountability is answerability with respect to your actions. It is answerability with respect to your actions. Okay, now the bad people, when somebody asks answer about their conduct, they feel stuffed. But good men, when they got an opportunity to present accountability, when they get an opportunity to answer for their actions, they feel liberated, they feel relief. Okay, so a very important quotation, and this exactly needs to be the value which should guide the civil servants. So this is important quotation we'll be using in our examination GS2 as well as GS paper number 4. Okay, I hope guys that it is clear to you. Fine, I hope that it is clear to you. Now moving to the next, the first article for today. Now, first of all, guys, let's read the heading of this article and let's understand that what's the utility of this article, and then we'll discuss this particular article. So, article reads, remote EVM ready to help migrants vote outside states election commission. Now this particular article will be important for GS paper number 2. GS paper number 2, electoral reforms. GS paper number 2, electoral reforms. Okay. Now, before going in this particular article, let me briefly tell you that what actually has happened or what actually is the problem. So, understanding the problem first. Understanding the problem first. Okay. So, basically, guys, the problem is something like this, that when we talk about India, in India, internal migration is very high. People are migrating for multiple reasons. There are social reasons for migration. For example, because of marriage, people are migrating. There are economic reasons for migration. People are migrating in search of employment. Majorly, they are going to the cities. People are migrating because of education and all such kind of reasons. Now, when people migrate and they relocate to some other place, they often are not able to come back to their constituencies when elections are being organized, because coming back and voting, it entails a lot of expenditure. So people are not able to come back. And in this particular capacity, guys, there are so many of the people who are not able to enjoy their right to vote. Now, in this particular capacity, I want to give you some data. So basically, the general election of 2019 that was carried, in this election, voter turnout rate was 67.4%, which is very good. But at the same time, we also need to acknowledge this particular fact that there were 30 crore electors. Fine, there were 30 crore electors who faced problem in exercising their right to vote. Okay, there are differential voter turnout in many of the states. Now, guys, we know this particular thing, that many states are there which have the culture of net out migration, and particularly the example of UP and Bihar is there. So there people are net out migrating, and when elections are there, many number of voters are missing. So in order to cater to these voters, we need to bring some kind of a solution, and therefore Election Commission had provided this particular thing, that we will be coming out with new mechanism, and this mechanism is remote EVM. This mechanism is remote EVM. Remote EVM. Now, what is this remote EVM? I will explain this remote EVM in very simple words, okay, by drawing a kind of a diagram, and then we will see that what implications of this remote EVM will be, what laws are to be changed to implement this remote EVM, how, or many other challenges that will be coming. Okay, so let's understand that what is this remote EVM first. So basically, guys, now what will happen? So there will be the polling booths. There will be the polling booths that will be deployed. In these polling booths, there will be a special kind of EVM machine for voting, and that will be called as the remote EVM. Now, what will happen? Okay, people will come to vote for voting in this remote EVM facility. Now, these people are migrant people. Let's say this particular person is from Meerut. Let's say this particular person is from Bareilly, and let's say this particular person is from Lucknow. Now, right now, let's say elections in Uttar Pradesh are going on. Let's say this is the Uttar Pradesh State Legislative Assembly that are going on. Now, you know this particular thing, that large number of people from UP are actually living in Delhi. These people cannot go back to UP to vote elections. So in Delhi, the remote EVM will be deployed. So this person from Meerut will cast the vote, and this particular vote will automatically be registered in his constituency of Meerut. This particular person will also cast a vote here, and this particular vote will be registered again in the constituency of Bareilly. Fine, where he is actually registered. This person will cast a vote again in this EVM only, and this vote will be registered in the Lucknow constituency. Is it clear or not? So basically, in this particular way, remote EVM, the people can vote at the place where they are residing right now, and the vote will be registered in the constituency, in their home constituency, where they are actually registered as the voter. So this particular thing is going to solve a problem to a very large extent. The missing voters, they will be able to enjoy their right to vote. Is it clear or not? Now, let's talk little bit about the nitty-gritties of this particular development. Now, it has been provided that right now this will be started as a pilot project. Pilot project means on an experimental basis it will be started, and if this particular thing proves to be successful, then this particular thing will be fully implemented in 2024 Lok Sabha elections. And these remote EVMs, they can handle up to 72 multiple constituencies from a single remote polling booth. So if you remember, if you see this particular picture, okay, so we have erased it. So I told you that a person from Meerut, Bareilly, Lucknow, all were voting from one machine. So it can cater to 72 different multiple constituencies. Okay. Now, the Election Commission of India has provided that if this initiative is implemented and if this initiative is successful, it can bring a social transformation. Because guys, understand this particular thing, that when we talk about democracy, in democracy, the biggest empowerment that is there in for the citizens is the citizens' capability to hold the state accountable for their action. And how they will hold the state accountable for their action? Only by voting. If the state has not been able to perform on their electoral promises, they can outvote the government, and if they have been performing, they can again bring that government. So their deciding a facility is only by the vote. So it will bring social transformation for whom? Particularly for the migrant people. They can connect with their roots. Okay. So this is something, and it actually will also be making the Indian democracy more robust. Moreover, guys, as they can continue to vote in their home and native constituency. Now, understand this particular thing. People, though, relocate to other places. For example, let's say I have come to Delhi. Now, I don't want to register in Delhi as a voter because I might be having my emotional connects with my place. I might be having property. I might be having residence at that place. I don't want to snap. So I am not voting at my place. I am not registering here also. So my right to vote is getting wasted. So basically, these people who are having their name in their home constituencies and who are unwilling to get their name deleted from there, it will help these particular voters. Now, this particular concept of vote, Election Commission has distributed in the political parties, and it is asking from the political parties that what you think, whether we should implement it or whether we should not implement it. Now, Election Commission of India itself has also identified certain problems that will come in implementation of this particular provision. Now, what are the problems? This is a very, very important point, because guys, if a question comes on electoral reforms and if you are writing this, you also need to write challenges. So challenges directly have been given here. What are challenges? Let's read them one by one. The first challenge that comes here is defining domestic migrants. Who is a migrant? Suppose I came to Delhi for 5-6 days. Okay, other person came to Delhi for last 6 months. Some other person came to Delhi for last 10 years. Who is actually the migrant? What is the definition of a migrant? That is to be defined. Then implementation of model code of conduct. Now guys, we know this particular thing, that suppose election in UP are going on. So model code of conduct will be announced, where no new schemes will be announced. Model code of conduct is brought to give the level playing field. Ruling government can just announce some new schemes and can attract a lot many people. So model code of conduct, no new schemes can be announced, no new developmental projects will be announced. Okay. Now, let's say large model code of conduct, obviously it will be implemented in UP if UP elections are there. But in Delhi, obviously there are the people who are the voters in UP. So how the model code of conduct which is there in UP, it will be implemented in Delhi, how it will be implemented in Mumbai and all other kind of cities, how this particular thing will happen, it is going to be a very, very big challenge. Very, very big challenge. Then other challenge that comes in this particular direction is that ensuring the secrecy of voting. Okay, ensuring the secrecy of voting. That next is that facility of polling agents for identification of voters. Now, how their identity will be verified? Is it clear or not? That is something. Now, obviously, it can be verified on the basis of Aadhaar. Okay, but many number of times people can impersonate also. So that is to be resolved. I'm not saying that because of this, it cannot be implemented. These are the challenges which have to be overcome. The next problem that comes here is the process and method of remote voting and counting of vote. Okay, how the counting of vote will be done throughout the country. Suppose UP elections are there, throughout the countries the migrant people are living, and throughout the country the polling booths are being created. So how the votes that are being captured, they will be counted. Process needs to be there. Standard operating procedure needs to be defined. Okay, all these particular issues are going to come. Now, the next question, what laws are needed to be changed? Obviously, this is something new thing that is coming. So we need to change certain laws also. So what laws are needed to be changed? Keep now see this thing. Number one, Representation of People Act 1950. Here an amendment is to be brought. Second amendment is to be brought in Representation of People Act 1951. Then after that, Conduct of Elections Rules 1961 are to be changed, and Registration of Electors Rule 1960. So we need to bring changes in 4 laws. Again, I'll repeat: RPA 1951. RP 1950, RP 1951, Conduct of Elections Rule 1961, and Registration of Electoral Rules 1960. In these 4 laws, the changes are to be brought. So this is, guys, the entire thing about the remote EVM reform that Election Commission of India has proposed. Now, over the coming days, many criticisms obviously be coming in the editorial section of Hindu newspaper and other newspapers. So as those editorials will come, we will cover other dimensions also. So that is all, guys, about this particular article. I hope that you have understood it, and now we'll move to next article. Okay. So guys, if there is any doubt, you may ask your doubts. Yes, if there is any doubt, you may ask. Okay, fine. So I hope that there is no other doubt. Fine. Chalo, moving on to next article. Moving to next article. Now, the next article that we are taking is from the text and the context page. The Karnataka-Maharashtra border dispute. Karnataka-Maharashtra border dispute. Now, this particular topic is going to be important. This topic is going to be important in GS paper number 1, issues of regionalism. Issues of regionalism, and this topic will be important in GS paper number 2, federal issues, federal disputes, federal issues, federal disputes. Is it clear or not? Now, let's understand this article. And guys, I'm not just going to cover the article that has been mentioned here, but yesterday in Indian Express newspaper, there was one more article that came on Karnataka-Maharashtra border dispute. And in that particular article, there were certain important content that was given. So that content also I will integrate here in this article as well. Okay, chalo. So let's first of all discuss that what is the dispute presently that's there. What's the dispute? Okay. So guys, the dispute that we have right now is this, that basically right now the dispute is over the regions of Belgavi, Karwar and Nipani. Now Belgavi, Karwar and Nipani, these are the major areas where the dispute is there. Now these regions are in North Karnataka and they have become a source of contention between Maharashtra and Karnataka. So basically, this particular dispute got originated in 1956. In 1956. So basically, you know this particular thing, that what happened, State Reorganization Act was brought in 1956, by which many of the state boundaries of the different states got defined. And after the State Reorganization Act of 1956, what happened? Belgavi, it became part of erstwhile Mysore state, and therefore Belgavi came under control of Karnataka. Now, Maharashtra says this particular thing, that Belgavi is the region where large number of Marathi speakers are living. And because Marathi speakers are living, Belgavi region is more closed to Marathi culture. So therefore, Belgavi should be made part of Maharashtra. Now, this particular dispute is not new. It is long one. Recently, what has happened, the Chief Minister of Karnataka made certain statement on the border regions. After that thing, they passed a resolution. Maharashtra government also passed certain comments and brought a resolution. So this issue had come to the limelight. Now you don't need to go on that political commentary, that who said what. We need to go to the main issue. So the main issue that we have here is that basically the border dispute is on these regions. Okay, and now the Belgavi, here Marathi is spoken, and therefore Maharashtra says that this particular region should be aligned with Maharashtra. Now, in past also, as this particular dispute, I told you, started after 1956, so commissions have been constituted from time to time. So in 1966, what happened? The Prime Minister Indira Gandhi at that point of a time created Meher Chand Mahajan Commission. Now, Meher Chand Mahajan Commission has looked in this particular matter, and Mahajan Commission recommended that 264 villages at the border of Karnataka and Maharashtra, 264 villages are to be transferred to Maharashtra. Okay, and that Belgavi and 247 villages, they should remain with Karnataka. And at the end of the day, Belgavi, which Maharashtra wanted for themselves, it stayed with Karnataka only as per Mahajan Commission recommendations. Maharashtra government did not like this particular recommendation, and therefore they rejected this particular report. But Karnataka had liked, and they said that okay, we accept this particular report. But up till now, the thing did not got resolved because Maharashtra had not liked it. Okay, so this is something that is going on now, guys. Now, as this dispute is going on, what can be the solutions? What can be the way forward? How to resolve this particular dispute? So, guys, for that particular thing, certain suggestions can be given. Let's discuss them one by one. First of all, guys, when there is a dispute between two states, a minute. Yes. So when there is a dispute between the two different states, what can happen? They can approach to center government for mediation. Now, center government will act as mediator. Two states, in this case Maharashtra and Karnataka, they will discuss the matter with each other. And center government will facilitate negotiations. And if the negotiations are acceptable to both of the parties, then what happened? The parliament can bring a law to change the state boundaries. Obviously, there will be some give and take that will happen. So, state boundaries, when they will be changed, for changing them, the parliament will bring the law. And in past, Bihar, Uttar Pradesh, Alteration of Boundaries Act has been passed in 1968. Then Haryana, Uttar Pradesh Alteration of Boundaries Act 1979 has passed when the disputes were there in these states. Then after that particular thing, guys, this particular thing can happen. Now, in order to help Maharashtra and Karnataka to resolve their disputes, the Home Minister has even constituted now a 6-member team. Now, this 6-member team will comprise three ministers from both of the states, 3 ministers from Maharashtra and 3 ministers of Karnataka will be there in this particular team, and they will resolve this particular dispute. So, right now, this is the solution that has been brought. But apart from that, what more they can do? So, these states can approach Supreme Court also, because Supreme Court has original jurisdiction to decide the dispute between the different states. So, if there is a dispute between two states, or dispute between the state and the center, these matters can be decided by Supreme Court. It has original jurisdiction. Article 131 of the Constitution you need to keep in your mind, because it gives the Supreme Court primary jurisdiction on interstate and center state disputes. So this is one. This is one. Sorry, just a minute. This is one. This is second, and third solution that can be there is to take help of interstate council. So we have Article 263, and Article 263 gives power to President to establish interstate council for resolution of disputes between the state. Now, this council is a kind of a forum, it is a kind of a platform which will try to resolve, which will try to facilitate discussion between the center and state. And Sarkaria Commission recommendation is also very much important in this particular direction, because Sarkaria Commission had suggested, in 1988 had suggested that this interstate council should exist as a permanent body, and in 1990 it also became as a permanent body. Okay. Now, recently the most important dimension, the most important aspect is that in 2021, the Interstate Council got reformed. And as a part of this particular reformation, what had happened? Interstate Council got reformed, and now it has 10 union ministers as permanent invitees. 10 union ministers as permanent invitees. Okay, so that they can resolve the disputes on many other dimensions as well. Moreover, there is a standing committee within the Interstate Council that has been constituted, which will have Home Minister as its chairman. Okay, so this is that has come in this particular direction. Now, guys, a lot of information has been taken from the other sources also. So please ensure that you note them down. Is it clear or not? Fine. Moving on. Okay. So, guys, if you have any doubt, you may ask your doubts. Yes. Yes, guys, if you have any doubt, you may ask your doubt. Okay. Okay. Friendly neighbors. Now, this particular article, guys, will be important with respect to GS paper number 2, GS paper number 2, international relations, India's neighbors, the developments in India's neighborhood. Now, first of all, let me tell you that what has happened, okay? Or let me tell you some very important background first. So when we talk about India, India follows neighborhood first policy. And as per India's neighborhood first policy, India gives the first preference to its neighbors, be it humanitarian assistance, be it economic assistance, be it political assistance, or any such kind of assistance. Now, in Indian Ocean, Maldives happens to be a very important partner for India, and therefore the relations between India and Maldives are very important. So basically, what has happened now? What has happened now? So earlier, former Maldivian president who was president of Maldives between 2013 and 18, that is former president Abdullah Yamin. He has been convicted by a criminal court in Maldives. Okay, and he has been given punishment of 11 years in prison and $5 million fine. Why he has been convicted? He has been convicted because of corruption charges and money laundering links to a company. So when he was president in 2013 and 18, he had helped in money laundering and had taken certain kickbacks. Fine. So because of that particular thing, he has been charged. Now, why this particular thing is important? Because his conviction has come just 1 year before the general elections that are to be held in Maldives. Now, when we talk about Maldives constitution. So guys, Maldives constitution specifically has a provision. It disqualifies any candidate who is convicted of a criminal charge. Okay, and here we see this particular thing that the former president Yamin, he has been convicted of criminal charge. Okay, so if a person is convicted of a criminal charge and the sentence, punishment of more than a year has been given, fine, they can be disqualified. However, if they are acquitted, if other court acquits them, or if a 3-year period has passed after their release, then they can again contest. But as of now, if we see the present process, we find this particular thing. We find this particular thing that the Abdullah Yamin, a minute. Yes. So we see this particular thing that the Abdullah Yamin will not be able to fight the election that will be coming. Now, is it a happy news for India or is it a bad news for India? So guys, it is a happy news for India. Why? Because we have seen this particular thing that Mr. Yamin, while he was president between 2013 to 2018, he had very bad relations with India, and he openly even sponsored India Out campaign, where he said that India, with the India, economic relations, strategic relations needed to be controlled, and he was open supporter of Chinese. He was open supporter of China, and therefore, basically, guys, this is something good, because the next year we might not now. Yeah, Mr. Yamin was trying to take up a very big ticket campaign. Right now, he was in opposition, so he was looking for contesting the elections. Right now, from the past few years, actually India and Maldives relation got improved under the present president. Okay. Moreover, he had also taken up the India first policy. Okay. So therefore, we are getting a lot of benefit. Now, in the last few years, what has happened? The government of India has also developed very close maritime relations with Maldives, and certain infrastructure projects have also been taken up in Maldives. Let's take the example of these infrastructure projects. Now, these infrastructure projects are, for example, Greater Malay connectivity project has been taken. After that, Hanimadu Airport, okay, Hulu Malay Cricket Stadium, okay, fine. Then we see this particular thing that Gulifalu Port. These projects have been taken. Apart from these infrastructure projects, credit lines, loans have also been given to the Maldives. And because of this particular thing, India-Maldives relation came under a lot of India-Maldives relation, they got strengthened. However, if here Mr. Yamin would have come to the presidency in the elections that are being fought in the next year, all these gains that we have made, it would have been nullified. So this is a good thing for India. Now, guys, at the same time, India has also taken up many number of military exchanges with Maldives. Okay, because of this particular thing, a negative perception actually has also been created that India is eyeing a military base in Maldives. Is it clear? This is the case that has happened. Now, as of now, the things are good, but there might be the possibility that some other court might acquit Mr. Yamin. Then there will be some problems that will come. So India needs to be very careful. It is too early to find that it is something which is going in India's favor. So India's diplomacy need to be more careful. Fine. So this is, guys, all about this particular article along with the background. Fine. I hope that you have understood it. And let's take if there is some question with respect to this discussion. Why don't the central government conduct a referendum plebiscite among the people of disputed villages at the border? Okay. Actually, the issue is that the matter has actually become more politicized also. Moreover, we being an indirect democracy, representative democracy, don't had exactly the provisions of conducting the internal referendums of plebiscites as well. So this is the reason. I hope that it's clear. Now, moving to next article. Okay, so this particular article again taken from Hindu newspaper. Credit challenges. Credit challenges. Now, this particular article will see with respect to GS paper number 3. The article will be seen with respect to GS paper number 3, issues related to Indian economy. Issues related to Indian economy. Now, guys, let's understand that what has happened first of all. So basically, what has happened? Reserve Bank of India has released a report, and the name of this report is Report on Trends and Progress of Banking in India. And this particular report has provided this particular thing that this year, that is 2022, has been good for banking in one particular way because of credit growth that has happened. Now, let's talk about little bit of basic things. So when we talk about the bank's model, what is the model on which banks function? So banks, what they do? They take deposits. They take deposit, and then these deposits are given to loan on to other people, other organizations, institutions. And when the money will be given on loan, bank will get interest, and this interest is income for bank. Fine. Now, so therefore, when more and more loan will be taken up, it means banks will get more and more interest, and therefore the incomes of bank will increase. So always banks look for credit expansion. Now, credit expansion will happen if economic conditions will be good. When we see this pandemic that happened after 2020, economic conditions and economic growth was not that very much good, and even people they restrained their demands as well. So neither for consumption purposes people were taking the loan, nor for expansion purposes business were taking loan. So loan growth was very much less. But now Reserve Bank of India has provided that 2020 has been good year and credit growth has rebounded. Credit growth has rebounded. It has also been provided that this growth came even at the back of pandemic hit year. Economic activities, the demands for loan was depressed, but still credit momentum has picked up, and credit momentum will continue in coming year also. So this is good. Even according to Reserve Bank of India, it has been provided that the loan growth is going to become decade high. In last 10 years, loan growth is going to be highest in this particular period. So this is something which is good for banks. But at same time, Reserve Bank of India has also provided warnings or red signals, and their warning goes something like this, that banks need to keep in mind that more number of loans might also mean more number of NPAs, non-performing assets. It has been seen that around 2017-18, non-performing assets have been peaked. Okay. After that particular year, after that particular thing, many interventions were taken by the Reserve Bank of India as well as central government. For example, central government by Mission Indradhanush. Okay, now there are two Mission Indradhanush. One is for vaccination, other is for banking reforms. So through Mission Indradhanush, recapitalization of banks was done. Asset quality review was brought by the Reserve Bank of India. Okay, and many other interventions were brought, and our NPAs actually tried to came down. But now as more credit growth is happening, what can happen to unworthy customers also? Certain loans can go, and it can create these loans as NPA. So therefore, Reserve Bank of India has urged that banks need to be careful against loan slippages, loan becoming NPAs. Moreover, it has been provided that the bank's balance sheets have become healthier over the past few years. So this particular gain we needed to ensure. What are interventions by which the NPAs have come down? Because of central banks, Reserve Bank's India's asset quality review, fine, mandates for the stressed assets. Banks have specifically been provided that if you find that any account might become NPA, you need to identify such assets. Norms have been introduced. Write-offs of commercial, write-off of loans have been done. Recapitalization have been done. Loan recoveries have happened under insolvency and bankruptcy code. So these gains should not be undone. We need to be careful. Now, at the same time, guys, the chief economic advisor has also provided that now understand this thing, when we talk about economic growth, it largely depends on expenditure. And when we talk about just a minute, the economic growth, it a lot depends on, fine, capital expenditure, capex, capital expenditure. Now capital expenditure can be done by both private sector as well as public sector. Okay, capital expenditure is one where certain assets is being built. Obviously, if private sector will do some capital expenditure, will establish the new production plants, will establish the new manufacturing facilities, what will happen? It will create generation, it will create employment. Fine. While these expansions are being done, employment will be generated, and once the manufacturing facility has been built, obviously new people will get employment. Then when government is doing capital expenditure, it will construct roads, it will construct flyovers. Obviously, it will also lead to employment generation. So capital expenditure is a very important parameter in determining the economic growth. In this particular direction, in the last 1 year, there has been a concern that private sector is not investing that much as it should do. But now chief economic advisor had said that private capital expenditure has touched around 3 lakh crores in first half of the year. And if this particular pace will be maintained, then in the full year, the data that we will be getting eventually till 2023, the capital expenditure will, the private capital expenditure growth will also be there, and it will help in bringing economic recovery, economic growth. Few days back, guys, if you have read the newspaper, the finance minister of India has said this particular thing, that corporates have forgotten their responsibility. Government had reduced the corporate taxes eventually, but corporates are not investing in economy. Okay, so basically it was said by the finance minister that have you to be made realized your powers. Okay, as Hanumanji had a lot of power, a lot of potential, but he did not realize that potential in the start, and he had to be realized his potential. So do corporates also to have be realized their potential, that they have to invest? Okay, and in that particular thing, now as we are getting the data that they are investing in capital expenditure, it is good sign for Indian economy. Fine. So that is all, guys, about it. Now moving to next article. Okay. So now taking editorial article, leveraging voice technology to combat cyber fraud. This article will see with respect to GS paper number 3. This article will see with respect to the GS paper number 3. GS paper number 3. Cyber threats. Okay. Now, first of all, in this article, there is some very important data points that have been given. These data points are going to be very important for our examination if you are writing answer, particularly for GS paper number 3, cyber threats. So as per a recent data that has been released by Reserve Bank of India, according to RBI data, it's have been provided that the cyber frauds, they have led to the loss of 100 crore rupees per day over last 7 years. For last 7 years, every day 100 crore rupee loss have happened because of cyber frauds. And the frauds, particularly in last year, they have increased. For example, as per RBI report in 2021-2022, cyber frauds were approximately 24% higher than the previous year. So 23.69, you can round out of 24% higher. Now, why this increase is there? Because more and more people are coming online, more and more people are using digital transactions, more and more people are now owning smartphone, and cyber criminals have also become so smart that they are duping more people. So cyber frauds are increasing, and as The digital payments will increase, telephone banking will increase, online banking will increase, these frauds are going to get increased. So therefore, we need to use some emerging technologies in this particular direction. And what can be emerging technology? So emerging technology is voice technology which can change or which can bring large number of reforms. Okay, so guys, we'll be discussing about this voice technology. What is this voice technology? Now, basically, suppose suppose I am making some payment. Suppose I am making some payment on Amazon. Fine. Now, suppose I'm buying a mobile phone of 20,000 rupees and I need to pay 20,000 rupees. So what will happen? Your mobile phone will register and you will receive an OTP, one-time password on your mobile phone. You need to put this one-time password here. Now, the point is that, guys, many number of times we have seen this particular thing, that the people's their SIM cards get cloned. Okay, or sometimes the OTPs can get compromised. Okay, fine. This is the issue that is happening. But in voice technology, what will happen? So when you have to complete a payment, you will receive a call, and on that particular call, you will be asked certain questions which essentially will not pertain to your sensitive information. Just they want to check your voice. So earlier you have to register the sample of your voice, and now when this call has come and you will speak, so your this piece of voice will be checked with the sample voice that you have registered, and if this voice matches, then you can carry that particular transaction. Now it's being provided that OTPs, okay, OTPs, they are susceptible to a lot of vulnerability. Passwords, they are susceptible to a lot of vulnerabilities. Is it clear or not? Few days back there was a report also that came, and it was provided that it takes average 30 to 35 seconds to break a large number of passwords. Okay, so when we talk about the passwords and OTPs, they have their own vulnerability. Let's understand this particular thing. Okay, so basically, it has been provided this thing that the passwords are the weakest links in security. 81% of hacks that happen, okay, they involve weak passwords. Okay, but in this particular capacity, a customer's voice is impossible to spoof, to copy. Fine. And in this particular direction, guys, it has been provided that HSBC Bank in 2019 became first bank to start this revolutionary step. They have taken up voice technology, and after HSBC brought this particular technology, it has been seen that fraud cases fell by more than 50%. Okay, so we also get empirical data. Next thing that comes here is that basically, as the voice technology, number one benefit is that caller can swiftly, within seconds, can analyze, their voice can be analyzed, so it doesn't take a lot of time. Second thing is that it also flags the suspicious calls. Okay, moreover, voice technology also allows the privacy. Why? Because many number of times when you are calling, they are asking sensitive information, your date of birth they are asking, sometimes they are asking the CVV number of your card or such kind of things. But in voice technology, you don't need to give any of your sensitive information. So therefore, it respects privacy also. And we have seen after HSBC adopted it, the cases, cyber fraud cases fell by 50%. Okay. Now this voice technology has the application on the basis of the voice. People's identity can be known. This has applications in investigation also. Investigation, efficiency for identifying the criminals also, it can help play a very good role. Now face recognition. Face recognition is not the best of the way out. Why face recognition is not best way out? It is because that it has high error rate. Okay, it you need to hold mobile phone like this in front of your face. Okay, if there is poor lighting condition, okay, then the face detection technology might not work. And compared to the face recognition, the voice recognition has much lower error rate, but error rate are there. So it has a lot of advantages. It has a lot of advantages. I have provided this particular advantages. For example, it can it can reduce the call handle times of the call centers, because in less time it can be done. High accuracy can be ensured within the seconds. Okay, and basically this technology is one of the most cheapest to implement. It is most cheapest to implement, but there is one criticism also, and criticism is that it is not 900% foolproof. There can still be error rates, and the accuracy is between 90 to 99%, and sometimes there can be the false positives that can also be there. So we should focus on improving the voice technology and voice biometrics. Voice biometrics can help in fraud protection. An additional layer can be added by implementing voice biometrics. Fine. So this is, guys, I will say that a fresh article that has come. So every day we see this particular thing, that most of the articles that are coming, they pertain to very generic issue, but this is a fresh take, a fresh article that has come. Very important article. I hope, guys, that you have understood it. And now we'll move to next article. Moving to next article. Okay, fine. So this is the other article, again taken from editorial section. Article reads, should India review its position on the Taliban? Should India review its position on Taliban? Now, so this particular article will see with respect to GS2, issues in India's neighborhood. Issues in India's GS2 IR, international relations, and within IR, issues related to India's neighborhood. Fine. Now, if you are reading newspaper regularly, or if you are seeing our newspaper analysis, we have discussed this particular thing also, that as Taliban has come to power, first of all, we knew this particular thing, that 1996 to 2001, it was the period of Taliban 1.0. Taliban 1.0. In 2001, we saw this particular thing, that attack was made on USA, World Trade Center, an attack was made. Fine. After that particular thing, USA decided to uproot the terrorism from its root. Al-Qaeda was behind these attacks that was carried in USA, and Al-Qaeda was getting patronage from Afghanistan, and it was provided, therefore, to remove Al-Qaeda's strongholds, USA needed to carry intervention in Afghanistan. And in 2001, USA came in Afghanistan. 2001 to 2021 was period during which 20 years US was present in Afghanistan, and US also helped in establishing democratic government in Afghanistan. But when Donald Trump came to the power, one particular viewpoint became very prominent, that now a lot of time has happened, US should withdraw from Afghanistan, because nearly $3 trillion got invested there, so many US soldiers have died, and so therefore they decided that we need to involve in some peace negotiations. Negotiation deals were to be started. And in 2020, what happened? Afghan peace talks started. As these Afghan peace talks were started, it was the Taliban was invited. Taliban was asked that if you give up your weapons, if you promise that you will respect women rights, minority rights, we will go from here. Taliban became very happy. Bola, yes, we will do all these kind of things. Actually, first of all, this was a very big mistake. Why it was mistake? Because by giving such opportunity to Taliban was given in a way legitimacy. Taliban made all the promises. US left from Afghanistan, but now Taliban has again started to show their true colors. How they are showing their true colors? Number one, minority rights are getting compromised, and recently Taliban came with an order that girls will not be allowed to avail the university education. And in this particular direction, many number of times we have seen that multiple restrictions have been imposed on women education, women's freedom, women's choices. Now, when we talk about the recent case that the decree have been announced banning girls and women from going to university and other things, for example, school bans for girls, gym bans, they are banned on going in public park. Okay, the women, if they are going out, they have to be accompanied with a person. All these particular things have come. Now the article says that should we change the approach towards Taliban? Okay, now first of all, what is the approach towards Taliban that we have? First of all, guys, in the past, in past, we had an approach that we support people of Afghanistan, we support a democratic transition in Afghanistan, and we want the development of Afghanistan. But we did not held any talks, any negotiations with Taliban directly. Okay, because according to India, all the outfits that are promoting terror are bad. There is nothing like good and bad terrorism. So we did not talk with Taliban. But after USA pulled out of Taliban, out of Afghanistan, we changed our policy with respect to Taliban. We started to talk with Taliban. Why? Because if we don't involve Taliban with the talks, because then Afghanistan, if it becomes the epicenter for terrorism, again spillover effects will come in Jammu and Kashmir, and there was no contender in Afghanistan. Okay, and Pakistan, with Pakistan we are already having not very good relations. So how to negotiate with Afghanistan? So government slowly started to change their viewpoint, and basically the constructive discussions with the Taliban came in calculus. Fine. So we have seen this particular thing, that India's policy in the last 20 years to support Afghanistan's government, to support Afghanistan's people. Okay, we were not discussing with Taliban. Okay, but now we understood Taliban is the only option, and this is a kind of a realism that has come. And now, basically, what is happening? India is working through a technical mission in Kabul to channel the talks. Now a question is coming, that what right now should be done so that Taliban should change its ways, Taliban should change its course. Now, as of now, when we talk about Taliban, guys, Taliban is being driven by a kind of an attitude that you either take it or leave us the way we are. Taliban says that we have 30 million people under our captivity. These 30 million people are under our captivity. As we will like, we will rule these people. With the gun, with the governance, as we like, we'll rule. You take it or you leave it. Okay. If you want, you can give us the food aid, wheat, medicines. Okay. This is the only way you can help Afghanistan. But beyond that, they don't want any kind of dialogue. Now, if Taliban is to be brought under control, there is only one country that has certain influence on Taliban, and that particular country is Pakistan. Pakistan has only certain influence on Pakistan. But guys, understand this particular thing, that even Pakistan is not going to help in this particular direction. So basically, needs to our policy needs to be changed in such a way that how long-term solutions in Taliban can be brought. Neither we need to completely isolate Taliban, or we need not to completely neglect Taliban and Afghanistan, because it will lead to spillover effects, nor we need to give legitimacy to Taliban, as this particular thing will embolden. So with giving a serious thought, fine, we need to understand that how the policy needs to be amended. Okay, now moving on. Fine. So here, guys, again we have two more articles. Let's see first of all the articles that have come here. Fine. The first article, Akhilesh seeks assembly session to discuss OBC quota in urban bodies. And another article, UP moves the Supreme Court against order to hold urban local polls without OBC reservation. So these two articles are very similar. Okay. And if you have seen yesterday's newspaper analysis, yesterday also I have took this particular article. But as this issue have become had come a lot in limelight, and as it is directly important for our examination, we'll again be briefly seeing this article. So if you have seen yesterday's, you can just revise it, and if you have not seen yesterday's discussion, please be very careful and follow it very carefully. Now, first of all, this article will be important for GS2 grassroots democracy. GS2 grassroots democracy. Fine. Now, before going in this particular article, let's discuss little bit of the background issues. So basically, guys, what has happened when we talk about India, we know that we have deployed the third tier of governance by the constitutionalization of Panchayati Raj institution and urban local bodies. Now, within Panchayati Raj institutions and urban local bodies, there are a particular number of seats then that has to be reserved for women, scheduled caste, scheduled tribe. And at the same time, there is article number 243D, article 243D and article 243T. According to these two articles, state government, if it wants, it can also reserve seats apart from SC, ST and women. Apart from them, the seats can be reserved for OBCs, other backward classes as well. Seats can be reserved for them in panchayat, and the seats can be reserved for them in municipal bodies. Okay. Now, many state governments in past few years many state governments in past few years had actually implemented OBC reservation in their urban local body election or panchayat elections. In this direction now, Uttar Pradesh government has come in between. So basically, judiciary from time to time has provided this particular thing that whenever you are bringing reservation, you need to ensure that you are doing you are conducting some empirical studies. Is it clear or not? Okay. Now, what has happened? What has happened? Coming to the present issue. So recently, Uttar Pradesh government implemented reservation for backward class people in their urban local body election. Now the elections was to be carried in Uttar Pradesh, but that reservation has been shot down by Allahabad High Court. Allahabad High Court provided this particular thing that Uttar Pradesh government brought this particular reservation on the basis of caste census that was conducted, but this particular caste census has not met triple test. Triple test. Now, what is this triple test? So, guys, the triple test has been laid by the judiciary if reservation is to be brought in local bodies for OBCs. It means number one, before giving such kind of a reservation, a dedicated commission has to be constituted. This particular dedicated commission will carry inquiry that whether how much backward are the people who are being given reservation in local bodies, what will be the implication of that particular reservation, should it be given, should it not be given. So all the studies with respect to giving reservation will be done by a commission that needs to be established. Second thing, the proportion of reservation needs to be decided on basis of this commission's recommendation. So this commission will recommend that okay, 10% seats, 15% seats, how much seats is to be reserved. Then third, total reservation for scheduled caste, scheduled tribe and OBCs should not exceed 50% of the total number of seats. More than 50% it should not be there. Now, according to Allahabad High Court, what's problem in case of Uttar Pradesh? So Allahabad High Court has provided that government of Uttar Pradesh did missed on one particular important factor. Basically, it does not provide for inquiry into political representation of backward class in municipal bodies. Right now, how much is their representation? Are they adequately represented or not? If they are not adequately represented now, then only they have to be, if their reservation has to be talked about. So, but without going in this particular kind of an inquiry, they anyhow brought reservation. So therefore, it has been dismissed. Now, in this particular direction, guys, we have two very important judgments. Okay, one is judgment of Patna High Court. Patna High Court very specifically provided that social and educational backwardness is different from political backwardness. Okay, socially a person might be backward, educationally a person might be backward, but politically a person is backward. It is not always the case. In fact, we have seen that the OBC leaders are actually very much active in politics, and here Supreme Court judgment also comes of 2010. So there is a K. Krishnamurthy versus Union of India judgment of 2010, and this particular judgment very clearly provided that barriers to political participation are not same as the barriers to educational participation and employment. So in employment, in education, there will be a lot of barriers, but in political life, there are not that much barriers. So there might be a possibility that the OBCs are well represented in politics. And if they are well represented in politics, what is the need to give additional reservation to them? What is the need to give additional reservation to them? And here, Supreme Court has also provided that benefits of reservation that are given under Article 15.4 and 16.4. Fine. Now 15.4, 16.4 gives the benefit of reservation in higher educational institutions and employment. According to them, this same principle, Article 15.4, 16.4, same principle cannot be applied in Article 243D and Article 243T. 243D talks about the reservation of OBCs in Panchayat. 243 talks about reservation of OBCs in municipality. So they are different. Political backwardness is different. Social and economic backwardness is different. A person socially, economically backward will be backward on a political line also, not necessarily the case. So you need to do empirical study. You need to have empirical data, and only after that, this particular thing can be brought. Okay. So guys, this is the entire issue. Now this issue is very, very important for our examination directly for GS paper number 2, polity. This is important. Now, moving to next article. Okay. So let's read the article first. Current account deficit widens in quarter 2 to 9-year high of 4.4% on trade gap. Now, one, you don't need to follow all this particular data line by line. For example, quarter 2's current account deficit has been given that it has become 4.4% on trade gap, 9-year high. Now you see this particular thing, guys, that when economic survey will come, in economic survey, anyhow, the economic indicators, economic data will be given. So that we need to see. So you don't need to track, but we are going to take this particular article to revise our one static concept of economy. Fine. So we are going to take this particular article to revise one static concept, that is the structure of balance of payments. Structure of balance of payment. Okay. So this particular image has been taken from Insights IAS. So all the credit for this picture, all the courtesy for this particular picture goes to Insights IAS. Fine, I have mentioned it here also. So this is taken from them, and a lot thanks for such courtesy. Okay, chalo. Now, fine. So as we talk about the balance of payment, BOP account. So guys, the balance of payment account, is actually an account of interactions, economic interactions that are happening between India and rest of the world. India and rest of the world. Now, as per BOP, we have, under BOP, we have two, capital account and current account. Now, in current account, what will be included? Trade in goods, trade in goods. Fine, we are exporting and importing the goods. Okay. For example, India is exporting a lot of food grains. India is exporting, let's say, a lot of medicines. And at the same time, we are importing the crude oil. So export and import, there will be some either positive or some negative that will come. Some positive will come, some negative will come. Usually India is in negative here only because we import a lot of crude oil. We import a lot of such kind of products. Then the next is trade in services. Trade in services. Obviously, services are also being traded. Fine. It includes net factor income. Fine. Investment income, non-factor income, incomes from insurance, IT services. Fine. And then we have the transfer payments. Transfer payments are the remittances, the grants that India is receiving, the gifts that India is receiving. Now, on services, India is having relatively good position. Trade in services, on remittances, we are having a very good position. Why? Because we are actually one of the world's biggest recipient of the remittances. Then next, we have the capital account. So in capital account, investments, FDI, FIIIs, external borrowings, ECBs, fine, external commercial borrowings that are being money or the loan that are being taken by the corporate sector, short-term debts, external assistance, government borrowings, bilateral loans, all these particular things will come. So basically, this article that we have seen above, this particular article that we have seen above, it is specifically talking about this particular thing, that current account deficit has widened. Okay, it has widened in quarter 2 to 9-year high of 4.4% on trade gap. So just let's see that what are the things that are driving the current account deficit in India. Okay, so yes, merchandise trade deficit ballooned to $83.5 billion in quarter 2. Okay, merchandise trade means the trade in goods. So the imports, the goods that we are importing, these goods have actually increased. Fine. Last quarter, the import was around $63 billion and it increased to $83.55 billion. Net foreign direct investment slid to $6.4 billion from 8.7. So foreign direct investment that were coming, they reduced. Export, okay, it increased. Export did not increase, imports increased, and as a result, the trade deficit. Abhi trade deficit kya hai? We are exporting less, we are importing more. As we are exporting less, importing more, the trade deficit will be there. So trade deficit has increased. Foreign direct investments have reduced. Okay. However, net foreign portfolio investment, FPIs. Foreign portfolio investments are the investors by the foreign people in our stock markets. Okay. In the quarter, they saw higher inflows of around $6.5 billion compared with the last, that is $3.9 billion. Okay. So what is the net result? Net result is simply this, that our current account deficit is widening up, and as our current account deficit will widen up, what is going to be the biggest implication? Biggest implication is going to be on our foreign exchange reserves. Obviously, if we are exporting less and importing more, the payment has to be made in terms of the foreign foreign exchange. Okay, so that is something that is going to be problematic. Now guys, as this problem is coming, we have tried to resolve and certain steps have also been taken. If you remember, we import around 82% of our oil through 82% of our oil requirements are met by imports. And in this direction, now we have even taken up the rupee ruble arrangement with Russia, where if we will import oil from Russia, the payments will be made in rupee terms. Okay, so by that particular thing, we are trying to minimize so that we don't need to give more of foreign exchange. In rupee, that settlement can be done. Okay, so only good here, the service sector, the remittances is something by which we can expect some positivity. Okay, so guys, I hope that you have understood this article. Now, moving on. Study shows Tamil Nadu is worst performing in RTI responsiveness. Now, let's take this particular article, guys. Let's take this particular article, guys. So basically, I'll zoom out. So what has happened? A report has been published by Satark Nagarik Sangathan. A report has been published by Satark Nagarik Sangathan. And as per this particular report has specifically discussed about performance of information commissions across the different states. So according to Satark Nagarik Sangathan report, it's provided. Okay, so guys, you might be seeing a little bit blur because this picture is blur here. This picture itself is blur in the newspaper. Now, I'll write what's the issue. So here, it has been provided that what is responsiveness of information commissions. What is responsiveness of information commissioners? Now, we have Right to Information Act, RTI Act. We have RTI Act 2005. And as per RTI Act, you can ask any information from public authorities. Who are the public authorities? Public authorities are mentioned in section 2H. So public authorities, from them the information can be asked and they have to give that particular information. How? And for giving that particular information, in every public authority, they have to appoint a PIO. PIO stands for Public Information Officer. So they have to appoint a PIO. Okay. Now, if any of the state government, if any of the PIO or public authority is not giving information, you can complain to information commissions. At the state level, there are information commissions, and then there are the Central Information Commission also at the level of center. Now, the Satark Nagarik Sangathan had given the data that how much these information commissions are responsive. How much these information commissions are responsive. Is it clear or not? Now, it has been provided that the Tamil Nadu's Information Commission is least responsive. Just they have responded only 14% of requests that has come to you. So Tamil Nadu has only responded to 14% of requests that has come to them. Maharashtra, it has responded to 23% of the request. Okay, Chhattisgarh, it has responded to 48% of the request. Karnataka, it has responded to 59% of the request. Okay, so anyhow, we see that the responsiveness of information commissions is less. Who says this particular thing? Satark Nagarik Sangathan report. Now, Satark Nagarik Sangathan every year from time to time, Satark Nagarik Sangathan comes out with this particular publications. Now, further, as per this important data from this particular report, it has been provided that only 10 of the information commissions, provided full information in response to RTI applications. And what are the better performing information commissions in this particular direction? Andhra Pradesh, Haryana, Jharkhand, northeastern states of Sikkim, Nagaland, Tripura. These information commissions response has been good. It has been provided that large number of information commissions, they are returning the appeals in significant number. And here we take the example of Uttar Pradesh and Andhra Pradesh. They have returned around 40% of appeals or the complaints which were reserved by them without passing any order. Okay. Now, this is something that has been provided. So guys, just as a factual data, you can find which has been provided here. Now, I want to just discuss some of provisions with respect to information commissions at the level of state as well as at the level of center. So when we talk about the Central Information Commission, it has been established by the government, central government, and it is established under the RTI Act 2005. It is not a constitutional body. You please need to keep it in your mind. It is not a constitutional body. Fine. because many number of times in prelims the question also comes where they ask the nature of a body. Okay, it consists chief information commissioner and 10 information commissioners, maximum 10 information commission. So this is, now these, they are appointed by president and on the basis of recommendation of a committee. Now this particular committee will consist prime minister will be chairperson. It will consist leader of opposition in the Lok Sabha, union cabinet minister nominated by the prime minister. So this is the chief information, central information commission, sorry. Then at the state level also there will be the state information commission. When we talk about the state information commission, it is constituted by state government. It has state chief information commission. It has state chief information commission and not more than 10 state information commissioners, and they will be appointed by the governor in a state on the basis of recommendation of appointment committee, which will be headed by chief minister. So this is the provisions with the facts which are important for your prelims examination pertaining to this particular development. That is all guys about this particular article, and now we'll come to the mains practice question for today. Mains practice question for today. So today's mains practice question will be relevant for GS paper number 3. So question reads that bank and cyber frauds in India are on the rise. Growing fraud means rising losses for financial institution and increasing cases for law enforcement to solve. In this context, discuss the role of emerging technologies such as voice biometrics. So the hint can be taken from the editorial that we have discussed today. So that is all guys about it. I hope that you have understood this article. Before that guys, if you have any doubt, there are a lot of comments that have come. You may ask your doubts now. Okay. इसके साथ आपका एडिटोरियल सेशन अटेंड करना जरूरी है या सिर्फ इसी से काम चल जाएगा? डियर इट डिपेंड्स. ठीक है, दिस कंप्लीट एंटायर हिंदू. देयर वी टेक द अदर एडिटोरियल्स फ्रॉम अदर न्यूज़पेपर्स आल्सो. ओके, is it clear or not? Other questions? Okay. Okay, meanwhile a very thank you to all. Anil, Spurti, Vasu, okay, Village, Munchtalu, okay, Pratiksha, Shiraj, Varpala, Pragati, Ganesh, Philomi, Akashdeep, Dr. Princey, I am good now, thanks for asking. Gaurinath, Karthi, KRK, Revati, Shakti Priya, Sadan Kumar Mandal, I like you most. Thank you, Sadan, for such a nice and lovely comment. Gaurinath, thank you. Anil, Mona, Venki, Education Connection. सर आप जो इतना मेहनत करते हो उसके लिए 10 मिनट क्या 1 घंटा भी इंतजार कर सकते. थैंक यू सो मच डियर. यूपीएससी एक जुनून, अक्षय, रामसिया, अवनेश, पल्लवी, संदीप, एक्सपेरिमेंटल लाइव, शीतल, नित्या, निदर्श, निवेथा, नईम, निहारिका, काजल, मनोज. Sir, please cover important articles from other sources as well. Okay, for Manoj, for that I am already taking another session also. You can check it out. Pandi Santosh, Mahesh Bhai, Mohammad Suraj, Manish, Mohammad Rafi, Aman Raj, Ninja, Mahesh Bhai, Sanskar, Krishna, Sanjay, Vipun, Nandan, Balagani. Sir, I am Telugu, but you can speak. Thank you so much. Sanskar Singh, Radhika. Okay, Radhika, your question I have already answered. Jalaja, Sanskar. India is a signatory of Moscow Declaration. We can't initiate publicite because India provides fundamental right. Yes, we provide fundamental rights and citizens are given the opportunity to participate in all these processes. Fine. Venkatesh, Akshi, okay, 470. This is Thritesh. Sir, I'm not getting notification. I don't know how to solve that. Sharon, okay. Riyasat Ali. Mahesh Bhai, Shushma Shri, Mohammad Rafi, Aman Raj, Radhika, Suman, Shilpa Shri, Richa, Aman, Mahesh Bhai, Anand Sharma. Thank you so much, dear, to your support also. Okay. Mr. Aslian, good morning. Good morning to you also. So guys, that is all. It was a very lovely session. I hope that you enjoyed the session and I hope that you are getting utility out of this particular session. Is it clear? So that is all guys about it. And now I will sign out. We'll meet tomorrow.